name's Jens Johansson. I play with a band called Stratovarius, and we're having this week a new album out that's called Survive. Comes out on Friday. And yeah, that's it.
Beautiful, mate. That's well done. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
No worries, man. So as you mentioned, Stratovarius will release your latest album, Survive, this Friday, September 23. So how are you feeling about it?
I feel pretty okay. The thing is, I mean, when you do something like this, you never quite know what people will think, but somehow the reviews have been pretty okay. Even some of the, traditionally grumpy outlets have been kind of okay. And yesterday we did this listening party, kind of thing, where fans could listen to the whole album and chat and stuff, and people seem to be very, very positive to it. So let's see, but you never really know.
No, you don't know. That's why it's good. The old listening party is a good day because the response from fans is the ones you want. You don't really give a shit about the critics as long as the fans are happy. That's the main thing, isn't it?
That's true. But I think that thing is it's still open. You can still go look at the chat, and the whole album is actually still on there. So if you want to hear the album, you can just go there 2 days in advance. It's I guess they'll leave it up on YouTube.
Very good, man. So tell us a bit about the album musically, mate, and what you're going for with it.
It's kind of continuing in the same tradition that we've been doing this a long time. I've been with the band like 25 years or something. So it's like going to be melodic metal, but I would say it's probably a little bit more modern than it was like 20 years ago, because we have some new members the last 20 years that have like a little bit different influences, of course. So of course, this idea of having melodic metal, I mean, that's still there, but I think it's like a little bit more updated in a way. Like I said before, I don't really know if this is going to be bad or good, but I think that you'll always have this old fans that were there like 20 years ago, and they inevitably would want the band to go backwards more towards that stuff that you were doing 20 years ago. And of course, then you have younger fans maybe who would like us to go forward and become even more hard or something like that. So I don't know, but I'm kind of happy with the melodicness and the metalness of the album, so
yeah. And the press release calls it a blistering comeback from one of heavy metal's most seminal bands. Would you agree with that statement? Like, is it a comeback so much?
I don't know. Like I said, I could probably tell better, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If it's like going to be the blistering comeback or the disappointing, failed attempt. But so far, so good. You know how it is when you are pushing an album. Everybody will of course try to put these kind of statements. But
yeah,
I like the way the songs turned out. So I could probably agree with it, but the real answer we'll have when the fans have their say in a way. Like they think it sucked, then I guess it sucked.
So you released the singles "World on Fire," "Fireflyer," and "Survive" off the album. So would you say that those three are a good sonic representation of the album as a whole?
I think so. Yeah, it's I would say kind of, but I think some of the other songs are like more like metal or like heavier in a way. I think what we did also, you kind of pick songs for the singles that you feel might be able to cross over into people who are not like hardcore metal fans.
Yeah.
So maybe the rest of the album is a little bit less poppy than those three songs. But yeah, they are good representation. But I think the other material is still kind of different. So
yeah, sure. So
I mean, it's kind of like record company / band decision, where you try to put maybe the more accessible foot forward in the run up to the album release, because you want to collect kind of like attention.
Yeah. Yeah. So at its core, the message of Survive is one of struggle, defiance, hope, and victory. So how difficult is it to convey those messages through music?
It's difficult. I think it's again one of those things. I mean, when we wrote the songs, we just kind of wrote the songs. It's not like a concept album in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. But when you look at it with hindsight now, because now it's been recorded and it's been put out, a little bit like that, but in the end we just like wrote a bunch of songs too.
Yeah.
So, but many of the songs are about this like environmental disaster, kind of like bleak outlook, but it wasn't really on purpose. It was kind of the stuff that we were just doing when we got together.
Yeah.
And I have to say also that people might think that we are being opportunistic with this stuff because, you know, the last few years there's been a lot of talk about the, you know, greenhouse gas emissions and stuff like that. But the band has been doing this like 3 band members ago, like 20 or 25 years ago. We were doing this kind of stuff already back then. And back then it was not controversial. It was more like, oh, that's cute. You know, like, of course we want to save frogs and ducks and environment and stuff like that. That's nice. You know, nobody thought much about it. Now it's more considered like some sort of political statement. And we get this like sort of trolls even sometimes saying that, of course, this is not real and it's all a Chinese hoax and stuff like this. It's like interesting.
Look around.
We have kept the same position for like kind of 25 years or so, which at that point it was not a particularly political position. It was just more of a scientific position. Now it's turned more political. That when it gets more serious, when you actually have to confront it becomes more politics, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. So along those lines, mate, like the environment and humanity's future have been very important and recurring themes in all of your music. So do you think your songs have actually made even a small bit of difference along those lines?
It's very hard to say.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I think in the end, does it make a difference? I don't really know, but you know, I'd still prefer to do this kind of stuff rather than be this super bleak like black metal band that only sings about death and Satan and stuff like that. It's like, does that make a difference? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know, but it's still somehow, at least we are not doing like really, you know, negative stuff like that. Like, and I think building confidence in the scientific method, which it sounds kind of boring, but I think somehow I bet it influences. If it even influences like 10 people, of course it's like not completely wasted.
Yeah. And this album comes 7 years after your previous release, Eternal. So how would you say the band's changed musically from that album to this one?
I think we just changed a little bit our approach to writing, which I think was a good thing. I would say it's kind of strange. Like last album, I think we were writing more and more increasingly sort of the way that people have been writing now during the pandemic, which is that you can't get together and you just do stuff via like Dropbox and chat and WhatsApp and email and stuff like that. We were kind of doing that more and more 2013, 2015. It was getting more and more like that. And to me, I wanted anyway to change things a bit for the next album, being that we should actually get together more like you would, you know, the good old days. That some people would get together and test stuff out, not the least like lyrically, and just test vocal stuff out so that they sit well with the guy who has to sing them. And of course, for us, it was like completely opposite situation to many other bands, because we had made this effort to try to get together, and then the pandemic hit. So we didn't really want to go back to do the Dropbox thing. So that actually put like maybe another year of delay. But we didn't really start in earnest until 2017. It was basically we had other stuff to do, and you know, I think we all agreed that the band was making a quite good living and it was getting bigger and bigger fees even without making an album. And from a purely economic perspective, it's actually you lose money making albums.
Yeah.
So to me it was like, let's do it completely right. Let's get together and write, and if not everybody's happy, we don't promise anything to anybody, and we just like we keep writing until at least some people in the band are happy about it. And I think I can hear the difference in the songs. I think the songs are very good, and I can't see so many like problems with the songs. I don't see like a weak point in the album or something like that it's fillers. And it was funny when we were watching people respond to the album yesterday, listening to it like in this YouTube thing session, people were chatting like, "This is my favorite song now," and then the next song would play. They would like, "This is my favorite song." Every song was their favorite song.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, I guess it's a good sign. Like,
yeah, definitely. And so you guys have released 16 albums now, mate. So you find that it gets easier or harder to come up with engaging new material the more that you do?
it's more difficult, I think. And I think this album, how long it took, it kind of proves it. But I think it's not a creative. We don't have problem with creativity. I mean, we have some quite creative guys in the band, mainly this guitar player, Matthias, who's been with the band since 2008. And I would say he's like the musical engine behind the bulk of this material. I think he wrote like 95% of the music, and then we were working on melodies and vocals and stuff like that. Me, him, and the vocalist Timo. But I think it's more of a problem of this like top-down process of getting to this point where we could sit down and go like, well, fuck this shit. We really need to get together and test things out instead of doing it via Dropbox. That is more of a problem than the creative output, like how to harness it properly, and then manage the band that nobody starves to death, and like kind of managing the situation with the live fees, because live fees is actually what makes the band survive, and try to get the proper balance between festivals and surface touring and stuff like this. That's actually the problem in the longevity of a band, how to finance it. And also, we have to kind of balance between band members, like individual activities and then band activities, because maybe especially during the pandemic, it was a little bit difficult to get to get everything together as far as income. As you know, a lot of other bands had similar problems too, and a lot of people were trying to do this like online shows, and we decided against that because I think it's kind of cheesy. So yeah, keeping the band alive it's complicated.
Yeah,
it's a changing world.
Damn straight it is. All right, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time tonight. Survive comes out this Friday, September 23. Have you got anything planned for the rest of the year, tours and stuff to promote it?
What was that? Sorry, again?
Have you got tours or anything planned to promote the album for the rest of the year?
Yes, we have. The way it looks now, and it's still this pandemic is still having an impact on this type of stuff, because I think local promoters are a bit wary that people will buy tickets, and we are kind of monitoring how is it going for other bands who are out now. It seems to be okay, but we have a Finnish tour because we are quite big in Finland. We have a Finnish tour all of November, basically weekends and some weekdays, and then we go to Latin America next year, middle of April, I think it will be. And that's always nice. We're also doing well there, and I hope we go to Japan. And of course, if we go to Japan, it would be nice to go to Australia. But let's see. And then we are at some point also planning more surface tour activities in Europe, but we don't quite know when, because summer festivals are usually. I mean, it's so much easier to plan summer festival gigs for us than to plan a bus tour, because we would want the bus tour to be kind of like nice thing, and we've had like one bus tour that was already cancelled because people were worried. It was like supposed to be in October, and it was like kind of like
not
so,
good.
let's see. Yeah,
beautiful.
We were talking about May. Yeah, we were talking about May next year in Europe, like a bus tour, but then I think we are maybe pushing that to the fall. So let's see. Like,
sounds like you got a bit on your plate anyway.
And Finland.
Yeah, got a lot happening.
It's going to be fine.
Beautiful, mate. All right, Ray. Well, thanks very much for your time tonight or today over there, and hopefully we do see you make it to Australia sometime in the near future.